6 seasons, countless patients, hundreds of procedures. Now it's our biggest milestone.
Tomorrow, The Doctor celebrates its 1,000th episode by looking back at the stories that changed lives and also saved some lives.
And joining us with a preview is Dr. Travis Stork and Dr. Rachael Ross. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Your show has helped so many people across the board. What are some of the most memorable moments for you?
Well, one of the great things about the show that airs tomorrow is we really do take a walk down memory lane, and it was an emotional thing for me because 1,000 episodes, you think about, okay, that's 6 years of TV shows. But in the show, you literally look at lives, and people come on the show, and we'll talk about an episode they were watching. You know, one episode we were teaching people how to do CPR to the beat of Staying Alive. And our producers went out and found a woman, Judy, who her husband went into cardiac arrest, and she remembered that from the show, gave him CPR for 10 minutes, and he survived. So those are the kinds of stories that when you look back at our show, you're just so proud of.
Yeah, and then you know, we're always cutting edge with medical technology and information. So the idea that we had the first face transplant on years ago.
I remember that.
And then she actually comes back and shares a really special moment with Dr. Travis, and just to see the development she's gone through and the things that she's been through is just amazing.
You know, every day in the news we report on some new research that will contradict the research that we reported the day before.
Yep.
Mammograms is a good example. You know, should women get them? Should they not? Are they getting them too early? How do we know what the right research is?
And that's where the doctors is different. You report the news, and on our show, we talk about the news and give you our opinions. Medicine, I always told people this the first season, look, medicine's not black and white. If you're just going to read a headline, you're not going to get all the information. You need to dive underneath that headline and figure out, is this really something I should be doing? Be careful of what your neighbor's telling you to do. And do be careful with the news, because what you read today may be different the next week. So we try to really delve into that and tell you, okay, this is what I do. This is why I do it, and this is why I recommend it for my patients.
And the best part about it is we all have different personalities, different practices. I'm family medicine, EZR, we have plastic surgery, we have pediatrics, we have OB. So we all have different perspectives, different patient populations. So it brings a lot of different energy and a lot of different opinions to some of the cutting edge information.
Because we always agree.
Right?
we actually disagree.
You might not agree with this, but I'm a big fan of Eastern medicine. I do acupuncture and I take herbs. What do you think about that for people who are looking for alternative medicine out there?
I am a huge proponent of alternative and holistic medicine. Actually, my physician is actually a holistic physician. So it's interesting how we can now take holistic medicine and blend it with traditional values and really give information based on that. So what we do is we present information, we present ideas, we take, and then we let the audience decide, the person at home, the viewer decide what works for them.
And we got to ask you about the internet. My brother's battling cancer now. The first thing his doctor told him is don't go on the internet. My brother wants to research his type of cancer. But you know, the internet has been both good and bad, hasn't it, for diagnosis?
The internet is interesting because there's a whole boatload of information out there. And it's interesting, even med students now confess that half of their education, they just go online and Google things. So it's not that going on the internet is bad, it's what you do with it. So if you want to go out and information gather from, I say, websites that aren't trying to turn a profit, you can actually glean some really important information, but don't base your medical decisions on that. And it's interesting, you mentioned Eastern medicine. You know, you go online, for instance, maybe you're researching a particular procedure, take acupuncture. In a lot of studies, acupuncture is superior to medicines for things like headaches. It can help people with low back pain, and it's proven. And so you research things like that, as opposed to you go online and there's some miracle concoction for $10 a month. You know, those are the kinds of things you got to be careful with.
Absolutely.
Dr. Rachael, Dr. Travis, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, congratulations on the 1,000th episode. Yay! You can watch the 1,000th episode of The Doctors on our sister station, KCAL 9, at 11 a.m. tomorrow.